Welcome to the Refine and Shine, the podcast dedicated to mastering the art of continuous improvement and optimizing every aspect of your life. I'm Angelina Rivera, your host, and together we'll uncover the secrets to refining our lives, our habits, and our processes to unlock our inner brilliance. Join us on Refine and Shine, where we'll delve deep into achieving more in life without the burnout and without all the stress. This podcast is your platform for a more fulfilling life through continuous improvement and personal growth. In each episode, I and a diverse array of guests discuss practical strategies for up-leveling every aspect of your life. From developing good habits and organizing your space to refining your mindset and personal goals, we're going to explore it all. Our guests share personal stories about the systems they developed or systems they've used and the tweaks they've made in their lives when refinement was needed, allowing them to truly shine. Listen to Refine and Shine to learn how you can implement continuous improvement techniques in your daily routine, develop and maintain healthy habits that lead to success and satisfaction, organize your life to reduce the stress and increase your productivity, foster a growth mindset that propels you to new heights. My mission is to inspire you to take bold action, make positive changes, and become the best version of yourself. Whether you're aiming to elevate your career, nurture meaningful relationships, or enhance your overall well-being, Refine and Shine is your guiding light. With over 25 years of experience in continuous improvement, I help businesses streamline their processes, establish efficient work areas, and implement standard work protocols. I have trained over 600 individuals and teams in process improvement, optimizing workflows, and enhancing overall operational efficiency. Tune in every week as we embark on an enlightening journey, exploring paths to refinement and illuminating the way to shine in every area of our lives. Subscribe now and join us on this journey to polish your life and let your best self shine through. Thank you for joining us on Refine and Shine. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Refine and Shine. Today, we're going to dive into a deep topic that I believe resonates with so many of us. Learning to endure in the messy middle. You know, that messy middle, the difficult in between the season of life that we're all in sometimes. It's a place where you're not quite where you started, but you're not quite where you're meant to be. It's that uncomfortable space where motivation can start to slip, and it often feels like the finish line is nowhere in sight. And it's precisely in this space where the enemy works overtime, hoping it's to claim a seat at your table, whether it's whispering lies to fill you with doubt and also help you get distracted from the goals that you're working on, distracted from your focus, distracted for the wins that you've already accomplished. But here's the truth. Our good shepherd has set a table for us. And it says in Psalms 23:5, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." This table is for you and the Lord. It's a place for peace, comfort, and strength where the enemy has no rightful place. And today we're going to talk about how to stand firm in the faith, recognize and reject the enemy's lies, and find strength to endure even when we're deep in the messy middle. So how do we find strength in the messy middle? Let's start by acknowledging a powerful reality. The middle isn't just challenging, it's also where the deepest growth occurs. I'm reminded of a quote from a book I've been reading. The middle is where it's the hardest, but also where growth happens. When we feel stretched, uncertain, or even weary, that's often where refining occurs, where God is shaping us for what lies ahead. Hebrews 10:36 reminds us, you need endurance to do God's will and receive what he has promised. I know this verse speaks to refining power of endurance, and I love that. It shows us that the struggle we face is not in vain, but that we have a purpose. In our struggles, we're going to find the purpose. It may not be always easy, and it may not be in the time that we want it to be, but we're going to find that purpose. You see, we go through life and we go through struggles, and if everything was simple, we'd never learn the lessons, right? We'd never learn what we need to do to improve ourselves, or what the habits that we have that are bad and are hindering us, and what we really need to focus our attention on, right? And so I want to give you some practical steps to strengthen your faith in the middle, that messy middle, where it's so hard to keep our focus, where it's so hard to keep going, where it's so hard to continue the path that we're on. Endurance just isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving and allowing your faith to go stronger. So, how can we stay focused, grounded, and resilient when the middle starts to make us feel overwhelmed? Well, step number one, recognize that the lies and replace them with truth. You see, our mind's going to tell us that we're not good enough. Our mind's going to tell us that we can't do this. We can't stay focused. We're going to have all these issues. That's what the mind is going to tell us. You know, we have over 35,000 thoughts. And in those thoughts, we have to make sure that they're positive. And it's so hard to do that sometimes when you're like, oh, I can't do this. I don't see the finish line. I'm no good at this. It's not happening fast enough. Those are the lies the enemy wants to tell you. The enemy often uses subtle lies to plant seeds of fear, insecurity, and doubt. But God's word is full of reminders that counter those lies. Philippians 4:8 encourage us to focus on whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right. So when negative thoughts creep in, counter them with God's truth. Here's an example when the enemy tells you, you're not good enough. Remember that Ephesians 2:10 says, for we are God's masterpiece. You were made with purpose and you were made with value. Let me say that again. When you are told when you have that thought that says you are not good enough, remember, you were made with purpose and you were made with value. Step number 2, I want you to guard your mind as you would guard a sacred space. So picture this. Picture your mind at a table set for 2. It's just you and God. When those voices of fear and doubt or disencouragement arise, picture yourself physically pushing away an extra chair that's not meant to be there. Can you imagine that? You're at a table. It's you and God. It's just there. And when all those doubts and fears come in, that's somebody trying to invite themselves. That's the enemy trying to invite themselves to your table. Push that chair away. Push that chair away and push those thoughts away because it's not meant to be there. Sometimes it's simple as mentally setting boundaries. Remind yourself that the enemy has no place at this table. Matthew 4:10 says, away from me, Satan. Claim that space authority in your life and guard your mind as a sacred space. So when you have those thoughts occurring, push them away. Not today, Satan. Get away from me, Satan. We don't want to hear it. Step number 3 is focus on small, consistent steps rather than the big leaps. I know it's tempting to want instant results. We want like microwavable results. We want it like that, especially when it's a difficult season. We want it now because we need it. Like we need it for some reason. Like we want something. Maybe it's a goal, a financial goal, and we need this income to start coming in because we're not going to be able to make ends meet, right? And so you like want these instant results. And it's a difficult season. But I'm going to tell you that real growth often happens in small, consistent steps. Studies show that when people make New Year's resolutions, most give up by the 6-week mark. But here's the thing, those who succeed usually have one thing in common. They have commitment to small daily habits. James 1:12 reminds us, blessed are those who persevere under trial. So celebrate each step you take, however small it may seem. Progress is progress. And I tell you that because I know that at the end of the day, we sometimes forget those small progresses. But you got to look at those and say like, hey, I got up today. I made my bed. I worked on my whatever I worked on, whatever goals you have. Maybe you ate right. Maybe you made a good choice to make a good decision. Celebrate that as a win, especially if you're struggling with your weight or you're struggling with things like that, like whatever you're struggling with. When I used to run races and I would pace people, in the middle is often when they wanted to give up. And I just have them focus. Let's go 1 mile at a time, 1 mile at a time. You're halfway there. Yes, it's messy. You still are like have 6.5 miles left to go, but you're so close. You're closer to the finish than the start. And I'd have to remind them that. And sometimes I'd have to remind myself that too, especially when I was running by myself and I was running like a marathon or a half marathon and it was hard and I'm by myself. And those thoughts of, why did you sign up for this? Right? Why are you doing this race? What is it? What is it for? And had to remind myself. I'd have to put on my inspirational music. I would listen to worship music, and sometimes I'd have certain songs on repeat just to keep me motivated and get those negative thoughts out of my head. And those are the times that we need to do that. I would just have to focus and focus my mind and focus on, okay, I'm going to go to the light pole. I'm going to the electric pole or whatever it was, depending on the type of race. I'm going to go to the next sign. I'm going to go to the next water spot. I'm going to keep focused. And that's what you have to remind yourself. And we're like I said earlier, we're so quick to just want to hurry up and get it done. But we got to focus on the journey. Focus on the lessons that we're learning. Focus on the growth that we're having happen. And are we ready, prepared? Because I see so many times when people get things quickly, they don't appreciate them. And then they lose it. So think about that as well. I know that in my career, there may have been jobs that I wanted and I really, really wanted them and I didn't get them. And at that time, it was hard because I needed it. I needed the money. But then I thought, okay, what am I going to learn from this? God, what are you trying to teach me? What do I have to improve on? And those are times when I had my greatest growth. Maybe it's going back to getting when I got my lean Six Sigma black belt training. It was after I had not gotten a job that I wanted. I was like, okay, what do I have to learn? I started doing projects on the production floor. I started really getting involved in different areas because I felt like God was telling me, you need to learn more so that when you do get this job, which I ended up getting almost close to 6 years later, maybe it was 6 years, I don't remember. 5 years later, I had done multiple projects. I knew the production floor. I knew all of these things. It was the lessons I had to learn and then getting involved and stepping outside my comfort zone. I had to do all of that. And it wasn't easy. It was during a very difficult time in our lives, but I had to do it. I had to take the lessons and I had to evolve. And so I think that's so important to remember progress is progress. I also want to talk about the reality of the messy middle and why perseverance is key. The messy middle is often the place where most people give up. And I talked about that several times throughout this podcast. In fact, research shows that 92% of people abandon their resolutions, projects, or long-term goals. Hear this again. 92% of people abandon their resolutions, projects, or long-term goals. And it's not that they lack the ability. It's often because they face increasing challenges. Their initial motivation fades, and the enemy starts to whisper, why bother? But for those who persevere, the rewards are transformative. They often cite the support of community, so make sure it's important who you surround yourself with. You want to make sure you surround yourself with people who are going to help you reach your goals, who are going to tell you, get over yourself if you're like in a depressed mode and they're going to say like, what are you working on? What are you focusing on? You got to have your cheerleader, you got to have your motivator, your bruiser. There's so many people. um, but you got to make sure you have a supportive community. And you have to make sure that you have commitment to your daily habits. Those commitments to your daily habits, it's not dependent on your spouse. It's not dependent on your significant other, your children, or anybody. It is dependent on you. These are your daily habits. What are you doing? You can control your daily habits. I hear so many times people say, well, you don't understand. My husband doesn't want me to do this, or my husband, okay, well, then that's something you got to focus on and work on. But you are in charge of your 24 hours. Like you can make a commitment to move your body for a half hour. You can make the commitment to journal or to write out your vision board or work on what are the action items that you need to do to get you from whatever you're working on. You're the person that can do that. And if you don't have that space to do that, then that's another topic that we need to work on. But You're in charge of your daily commitments. You can do those daily commitments. You can feed your body healthy meals. You can do that. And a deeper sense of purpose is critical to make sure that you have a deeper sense of purpose. Like it's not just I want to like build this business. Like why do you want to build this business? What is behind building this business? What is it going to mean to you? What's it going to feel like? Because you see what often happens is we just go from I want to do this to this. And then we reach that goal and we're done. And then we don't even have satisfaction because we're not really deeply don't have a deep um sense of purpose. And so we have to have a deep sense of purpose. Like what is it going to mean to me? What's it going to feel like? um if we're in the race of life as Paul describes in 2 Timothy 4:7, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith, then training for the middle is crucial. Think of it like preparing for a marathon. When you need the endurance for the middle miles, and I kind of talked about this earlier, where fatigue sets in and motivation starts to dip, this is the time to dig deeper into yourself and to draw your strength from God and to trust that He will lead you through this. And I know you're like, this is easier said than done, Angelina. It's so hard. I get it. I've been there. And I'm telling you this because I know that during this season of life right now, even for me, the messy middle is where I'm at. And it's hard. It's hard when I'm trying to build something, or it's hard when I'm trying to focus on something and I don't always have the support, or I don't feel like I am doing what I need to do. And so I got to reevaluate my habits and I got to reevaluate who I'm surrounding myself with, who I'm listening to, what am I reading, what am I feeding into my thoughts. So important. So let's talk about dealing with doubts and pressure. Now let's, self doubt keeps in. As I built my consulting and coaching business, as I'm doing it right now, I'm also faced with those lingering thoughts and lingering questions. Who am I to do this? Will anyone want to work with me? It's easy to let those voices hold me back. But I remind myself that God has equipped me with unique skills, experience, and insights for purpose. I spent over 25 years helping others, setting up their processes, saving time, seeing projects through its completion, saving companies millions of dollars. And yet, like many of us, I still wrestle with the doubt. Did you know that the average person makes over 35,000 decisions each day? I kind of talked about that earlier. And every choice in every moment is a doubt. It's an opportunity to choose faith over fear. So I want to remind you this. Remember 2 Corinthians 10:5. We take every thought captive to make it obedient to Christ. So when doubt comes in, when it creeps into our minds, make the decision to stand firm in God's truth. And so then I want to talk to you a little bit more about my shine principles, which I think is so important because it's so important to put these into practice. And it can help us when we're in the messy middle. S, show up every day. Show up every day, even when it's hard. Just being present is often half the battle. And H is set habits that are going to help you grow. Create habits that build resilience, like maybe daily prayer, journaling, or gratitude. I'm not telling you to like run a marathon every day or run 10 miles. Like focus on the habits that are going to help you grow. Moving your body is so important though too, because it's going to help you with your energy. But whatever your habits are, making sure that they're good. You're not going to want to have a habit. If you're in a growth season and you're trying to grow, are you getting out of bed and the first thing you do is turning on the TV or scrolling social media on your phone? If that's your habit, that's not going to be a good habit to help you grow. So realign and focus on your habits. And so it goes into I. Intentionally work towards your goals. Be deliberate, even if it's just one small step a day. One small step. Let me give you an example. I want to learn Spanish, and I've taken years of Spanish, and I didn't retain it really well. I can kind of have a conversation, but I'm not really good at it. So I do Duolingo. I'm not going to lie. I do Duolingo, and I do like 2 minutes, 3 minutes a day. It's something easy, it's focused, and I can do it. If I want to be intentional and I'm going to pick up my phone, I'm going to work on the apps that are going to help me grow. I'm not going to spend mindless hours scrolling social media if it's not really going to help me grow right now. I really want to learn Spanish because I believe that I can go out there and speak to a larger audience if I can take in my heritage, right? And so, I'm deliberate in making sure it's like a streak. I think I'm on 125 days, which I think I'm so proud of myself. It's intentionally working towards a goal. And it's just one little small step, but a few minutes. It can be so impactful. Never give up, even in the messy middle. You see, the enemy loves to see us give up. So stand firm, keep going, and trust in God's plan. E, every day celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Acknowledge and celebrate every victory, no matter how tiny it seems. These principles will remind us that the messy middle is not a sign of failure, but a sign of growth. We're being refined, we're being strengthened, and we're being prepared for what's next. So I want to leave you with some more encouragement for today. Trust in God's plan. As we journey through the messiness of life, remember that you're not alone. Even though you may be under financial pressure, even though your spouse may not be as supportive right now, even though we're in a world filled with uncertainty, yet we will rejoice in the Lord. I want to tell you, joy and endurance doesn't come from perfect circumstances, but comes from a perfect shepherd who guides us. Habakkuk 3:18 captures this beautifully. Yet I will rejoice in the Lord. I will be joyful in God, my Savior. So remember that. And let me give you some final thoughts. Let's reclaim what the enemy has stolen. Friends, the middle may be messy, but it's holy ground. This is where God is building us strength in us that we didn't even know we had. So together, let's choose to reclaim what the enemy has tried to steal: our peace, our focus, our joy. Let's guard our minds, find strength in truth, and keep moving forward. So I just want to thank you for being a part of my journey today with me on Refine and Shine. I know I did a lot of Bible verses today, and if that's not your thing, okay, I'm sorry. But I just felt that this message, I just wanted to make sure that this message just empowers you to find strength and be firm in the messy middle. Because it's when we have faith and courage and we trust in God's plan that He has set a table for us. And so until next time, keep shining, keep believing, and keep taking those steps forward, even if they're small ones. I just want to encourage you to not give up in the messy middle, not give up when things are hard, not give up. If we're doing the work and in our deep pit of our stomach, we know that whatever we're working on, God has given us this to do as part of our purpose. It is going to be hard, but it's going to take work, and don't give up. And whether that's not something like, maybe you're like, well, Angelina, I'm really not really working on something big. Maybe it's a relationship. Maybe it's a relationship you're working on or that you need to work on, especially during this holiday season where relationships may need to be worked on and may need to be refined. Maybe it's your relationship with your spouse. Maybe there's something you need to work on there. Maybe some improved communication. Maybe some time to go out on a date night. Things like that. Maybe it's a relationship with a parent or a relationship with your child. Those are things that we also need to work on through this holiday season if we're not really being firm in that relationship, or not firm. Firm's the wrong word, but not having a good what would I say? A good We don't have a good strength in that relationship, I guess I can say, or um it's something that maybe we've let the enemy come in on that relationship. I guess that could be a better word. So if that's something that you need to work on, then maybe that's the thing that you work on. I know a lot of times I talk about things as an entrepreneur or in business and things like that, but I also want you to think about relationships as well. And so anyway, I hope that this podcast helps you. I hope that this is something that encourages you. And I also want to remind you, like during the season we're in right now, we may not have long daylight hours. And then that's where we get into a depressive mode. And so Hopefully, these things will help you stay focused, stick to the plan, and just remember it's God's plan. So I hope it helps you. Much love to you all, and thank you again for listening to another episode of Refine and Shine. Until next time, take care.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Refine and Shine. We hope you find valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your journey of continuous improvement. Remember, the key to success lies in refining your processes and letting your inner brilliance shine. If you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your feedback is greatly appreciated and helps us reach more listeners like you who are eager to refine and shine in all areas of life. Stay connected with us on social media for updates and additional resources and behind-the-scenes content. We love hearing from our listeners, so feel free to reach out with any suggestions, questions, or success stories you'd like to share. As we wrap up, remember that the power to transform your life lies within you. Keep striving for growth, embracing change, and seeking opportunities to refine your skills. Together, let's continue to shine bright and make a positive impact in the world. And until next time, keep refining and keep shining.